Hi, it's Will from Gather, and in today's video we're going to talk about blockade reporting. Well, a lot of people have been talking about this recently, and we often overcomplicate it, in my opinion. So we worry about the intensity of doing the works in such a kind of congested blockade environment. So hopefully today we can break it down so it's much simpler and easy to understand. So I've got a few slides, and then we're going to go split this video into 3 cuts: simply plan, record, and report. Let's get into it. So first, what is a blockade? What do we think it is? So most people associate this with rail projects, but it's common in other infrastructure types, highways, utilities, and just really a whole range of infrastructure sectors. Again, most people probably think about this as a big 7-deck occupation of the railway over Christmas or Easter, but for me, it can be much simpler than this. We can simply define it as follows. It's more than one shift of continuous occupation of an asset. So we're just not handing it back in between shifts, basically. In railway terms, that can be just a long possession where we work multiple shifts over a weekend without handing that asset back. So what are the common challenges? What are the things that we kind of worry about? So planning shifts in detail. We've got a time window. We want to make the most out of that window, get maximum productivity. Getting real-time updates from site. What's going on? Why do we need to know that? Well, that's linked with the third challenge, which is keeping stakeholders informed. In blockades, a lot of people are interested. There's a lot of investment in making that happen. It takes a lot of planning in advance, almost a year in advance on some projects to get that access, that infrastructure. And then replanning during the shift, tracking handback risk. Can we hand back that risk on time? What is the risk to right time handback? All very common challenges. So to answer those challenges, we're going to split this into videos of 3. Simply planning, recording, and reporting. That's what we need to do. That is as simple as it needs to be. So we're going to cut it into 3 sections, as I mentioned. Feel free to jump ahead. We'll put the markers in the description on the YouTube video. So let's get started. So let's start with shift planner. So we're in our shift planner function. I've already started here. So I've got my 5 shifts here. You can see one starting on 9 o'clock on the 23rd, which is a Friday night. Then a follow-up shift with a bit of an overlap here on the 24th. And again, got that hour overlap on each shift. We're assuming 10 shifts. Access point the same. This project's all at one station, Ainsdale. We've got 3 different supervisors. Some of them are doing 2 shifts out of the 5 and on that rotation. So you can see they're all possessions as well. Right, let's get into it. So if we have a look at here, and we can start to see we've got the shifts. I've tagged them with the different teams. So team 1, team 2, and team 3. This is usually how we do that with our tags function. I've put in the labour already, so we've got a team of 6 on each shift, bit of plan, materials, and work logs. So yeah, you can start to see our teams are there. Sabre plan and materials. Activities, well, let's dig into those. So I planned 3 different activities on each shift. I've split it by location. I've got the different activities here. So we've got some route works and we've got some installation of precast foundations. We put the planned start time and end time for each of those activities. You'll probably put an hour by hour program in, and you can put all that data in here, really straightforward. We've done that for each shift, different time, different activities at different locations. The thing that most people get worried about is the access information. How do I fill a shift record in when I'm still on track? So let's open up all the different shifts we've got planned, and we'll go to access. Just edit what we've got in there. So all the references are the same. We've already done this. I've put in the references for the work sites. But let's just scroll across and have a look. So you can see here, we've got the possession time, work site, and we've got all the different shifts here. So the first shift, we need to capture that. We're taking possession of the railway at 11 o'clock. We're then 12:15, get work site, get the C-form or the isolation, and then we're going to track our machines. We're only going to start work at 10 past midnight. We're then going to say we're going to do work until 6:15. That's how we've worked out that this shift's going to work. And then we're going to look at the rest of the shift. So you can see here, I've not put any possession time information in. I've not put any off tracking. We're just taking over. There's a handover period. That second shift is 6 till 4 o'clock. So we can see here, we've got those handover periods. Same with shift 3 and shift 4. And then only at shift 5 do we actually need to put in the off track C4 and all that process in reverse. So you can see that's quite easy for us to do here. So yeah, really easy to capture those individual shift records, questions I often get is why not just do one record? Well, will you get better quality detail? We've got different teams, different team members, and those 5 records are all very important in their own right. So let's save that. So you can see here, we've got 5 shifts, labor, plant materials, work log, and a tag of the team just to help us make it a little bit easier to understand. I'm going to plan those shifts now, and that will create 5 shifts for our team and shift records. Join me in step 2, where we look how to complete each of these records. Okay, so we can see we've got our shifts here. We've got the different teams tagged. It's all ready for us to go. So a very simple example, but you get the idea. Let's go back into our overall menu, and we can start to see how that's changed. So we've got the key insights. We'll look at the key insights now. I'll open those on a new tab, just so it's easy for you to understand. Okay, so we've got our key insights. Go straight into it. A Gantt chart. We can zoom in, we can zoom out, we can have a look around what this means. So all our activities are here. We can bring in the access ones if you want to, but we've just got the construction activities. So I can go over and look at them. And these are all the bits we've got planned to do in the shift patterns. Bit of gaps in between shifts, as you can see. Personally, I like to look at this in a more of a tabular view. So let's go to our project overview. And we can start to see we've got all the planned start times, activities, and then we'll drop in. So all these metrics will update as we start to fill in those records, and it's all live. So I know people watching this will do 4 hourly reports or hourly reports to stakeholders during these kind of key blockades, but it's all there for whenever you need it, either in that tabular format or in the Gantt chart. So this data is really straightforward. You can use obviously this, which is Power BI, which everyone seems to love. You can put it back into P6. You can do Google Timeline. You might even want to use some excellent short line tools, things like Afex, to do all this. But ultimately, each of these activities needs to be on a shift record of some form. Okay, great stuff. So we're back to our project screen. I'm going to go into shift records. I've already started filling this in. We've got all our records here. Most people do this on their mobile device, tablet, phone, whilst they're out on site. For ease, I'm just going to do it on my laptop today. So I'm going to go into this record. I've already started filling it in. And the 2 bits of information we really need to focus on for purpose of this video is access and work log. Already had the shift information in, already confirmed the resource, which we've put in those times. So let's start with access information. So this is a possession, it's quite a few steps, as you can see here. We've been pre-populated all this information outside, so we just need to fill in the actuals. So we can put in that. The good thing about Gather is that you have to put in the time. We automatically work out the date for you. You can change that if you want to, but it's all anchored from that shift start time. So you put it manually. I'm going to match this for the purpose of this exercise. So let's assume we do everything to plan. We get the work site on time. Takes another 15 minutes then to get the isolation on tracking machines. Well, yeah, that's on time as well. Well done. All good. And we're starting to progress. But what happens if it's different? What happens if it actually starts a bit later? It took us longer to travel down site. Well, we have to explain why. So travel time from RAP was longer than expected. So we're actually starting the work a lot later, or 20 minutes later. Might be insignificant, might be significant, but understanding those differences is really important. Then we'll go and record the works, and then we can come back here and put the works complete. So I've started to fill this in already, but we've got 3 activities planned today. We have to fill in all the key times. So nice and red here. So I've already put in the quantities, but what's missing? So I actually have to put in the actual start time. Why is that important? So those bars we talked about before, well, they need to be actualized. So we'll just put in this to be the same. And you can see now it's gone green. We'll do the very same for this one, just for ease. Let's assume this all goes to plan, and then we'll work out what happens when it doesn't go to plan. So 2 greens, great stuff. So first activity in CU123, installing troughing, planned 200 meters. What was it actually, and what time? What was the reason for variance? So we can record the start times. Let's say we started a little bit later. Let's say 1:50. Then we can actually start to put the end times in. What we'll encourage people to is put events in. This takes the date time now. As you can see, I'm filling that in a bit later on as per for this demo. And then we can start to add in all this information. So let's say at 1:30, and we can add in So this can be whatever you want. We can add in the pictures, we can add in all the comments, it's all there, and you put your name against it. Ultimately, we need to say what time we finish. So if we started actually a bit later, we're going to finish a bit later. We'll make it a little much later for the purpose of this exercise. And we'll actually say we're not going to complete everything. Why have we not completed everything? Well, taking much longer to do due to ground conditions, or whatever it needs to be. But the key information is we're recording the quantities against the plan, we're recording the start times, and then we're adding as many events and as much narrative as possible. So that's all in there. Then we're going to go back. We're going to complete the work's complete time. We're going to finish on time. That's good. And you can see here, there will be no reason for variance. And it's as simple as that. So let's go back and have a look at all the other records and have a look at how that affects the program. Okay, before we go any further, let's have a look at what the second shift would look like. So it's a little bit different to the first. So I've already done the work log element, which is good. Let's look at the access. So you'll see here, we've only got the works commenced and works complete. So we don't have to put in all this other information. They're non-compulsory. So I know previously been confusion about do I have to fill in a full shift record. Well, what is compulsory? It's just what time do we start? And what time do we finish? If it is different, we have to explain why. So even if it's 1 minute different, we have to still put that in, which I'll just do now. I have to spend a little longer to get off track. So it's as simple as that. We do actually have to put in a delay category as well. So whatever it needs to be in here, maybe it's different paperwork like to fill it. So it's as simple as that. Don't worry about filling the whole shift record in for works commence, works complete. That is the only bit we need to do. Not all this in terms of possession, worksite, and the handbag stuff. Okay, so we've done 2 shifts. Let's go back to our key insights. Again, I'll open these in a new tab. So you can see here, we've got the program start to be actualized with the yellow bars. We're going okay. Some things are taking a bit longer than we expected. We can see here the activity is taking a little bit longer and starting a little bit later. So yeah, not looking too good on that front, but we've got plenty of the blockade or the 5 shifts left to go. Again, we can look at this in a more tabular format. So we can see you've got all the planned activities, how we've actually complete, so fully completed. Any lost time, so we've lost 0.3 of an hour so far, and we can see all this. We can go straight to the reports if you don't want to just look at these dashboards, and that'll give you a full shift report for each of those shifts. So you can see here, Fred's shift will have a full report, so will Derek's. And that's exactly how you look at it during the blockade. It's always available, it's always up to date, and we can start to see progress as it happens. Okay, so that's halfway through the blockade. Let's go and finish those records. So I've submitted all those now, and they're all done by the supervisor each shift. We can go back into the key insights. We can look at the individual shift reports. So every single one has a report. It's all there, good to go. Your summary reports, they're ready. You can run a labor report, run a progress report if you want to get into detail. Great for going back into tools like P6 or maybe your short-term planning solution, things like Afex I mentioned before. You can use all those reports to get that information back in. But for us, let's go back into the key insights. Again, I'll open it on a new tab and we can start to see it. So all these are actualized now. I can dig into detail for each one. We've got the durations, which I think is really nice, of each activity in minutes, so we can see exactly where we're up to. Project overview, again, more tabular format, but we've got all these up to date now. All these times, actualized, we've got a lost time, not too bad. In terms of lost time there, all the activities have been complete and we can start to see what's happened. We can look at some other metrics. So shift scores are always one that's quite interesting. So we can start to look at how it looks. Got 2 shifts that are efficient, 2 with production issues and 1 with frustrated access. Imagine if there's a 30-50 shift blockade, you can start to see all that information in there. Access, again, we start to pull out that data. So we can start to look at our access timeline. Again, we've lost a little bit of time here, mainly down to plant and equipment. Shift duration was as planned. Working time was a little bit less, as you can see, a bit of lost working time overall. But ultimately, the project has all the information it needs, available for stakeholders whenever you need it, and gives you that real-time information from site. So yeah, blockade reporting, often made very complicated, but you can make it really simple by just collecting consistent shift records from each team every single day. Let us know how this works for you. Any comments, any feedback, let us know. Give it a try. Thank you much.